Are you tired of always looking for your community folder or your user config file? I don't know, man. I had dozens of shortcuts on my desktop, even folders with shortcuts, everything that would make my life easier to find all these files and folders. But what if I told you that there is a toolbox for Flightsim 2024 that makes life so much easier? Like every aircraft needs a mechanic, and the mechanic needs a toolbox, and you need to have the best tools available anytime. You don't need to have to look for all your tools. You just open the toolbox and there they are. Well, let me tell you, there is a toolbox for Flightsim 2024, and I had this toolbox for several days on my desktop, and I started playing around with it just a few days ago. So, you are still rocking with your old VR headset? Well, now is the time to upgrade to the Pimax Crystal Light. The Pimax Crystal Light offers 2880 by 2880 resolution, 35 pixels per degree, local dimming, glass spheric lenses. The image you see in the headset is crystal clear. Now you can join the Pimax Crystal Light upgrade event by showing them proof of ownership of your old headset. They will give you a discount from $40 up to $100. $100 is more than 10% discount. When you order a new Crystal Light in the upgrade event and you use my promo code VirtuSim gift, they will send you a mystery gift with your Pimax Crystal Light. All right, so let's dive into this one, the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 Toolbox. And remember, this is only for Flight Sim 24, not for 2020. So when you start up the toolbox, it will automatically look for your configuration file. If it can't find the configuration file, there's a button here where you can set your configuration file manually, the path to your configuration file, because it needs that file for all the other options. Once started up, you won't have all these buttons here on this side. Let's delete one, and that's Navigraph charts. Right? We're gonna add that one later, and I'll show you this, how to add it. All right. So you end up with these 5 buttons here, 4 buttons at the bottom for quick access. And then here you can add your user buttons. They will come in there. So what we have here, you got your airport duplicate manager. Well, in here it will check for duplicate airports. And the ones that are disabled, that is the FS20 airports, and only the FS24 airports are enabled. Okay, so that's there because you don't want to have duplicate airports. That will give you some issues. Now you got your BGL manager. If you have an airport with static aircraft, you can see if there's a separate BGL file for those static aircraft, and you can deactivate those static aircraft or clutter or anything or people. And then you got the SAM, the Standard Aircraft Manager. These are all the aircraft that are active in the sim. So I got my FS24 aircraft, and then you will see here in white some FS20 aircraft that are disabled, like the ATR. So they are disabled by default in the sim, and those are all in your content XML file. But you can, if you want, never use some aircraft. I don't know, like let's say you don't want to use the which one? The velocity? Well, you can disable it just like this, and it won't show up in your menu. All right, so that is the aircraft manager. No, I don't want to do that because I didn't change anything. You can change also the intro for the sim, or the intro for your career, or your logo or Sobo. That's all movie files. So the intro for the sim, that is the pre-start video 4K. If you have another file, just replace it with your own file, your own video file. You can do that. So first you have to find the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 folder, and then it will find all the videos. And then you can replace it with the video you've selected. You browse to it, you select the file, and then click Replace Video. Another important button is the Clean Cache tool. So from here you can clean your DirectX shader cache and your Nvidia cache or AMD. And you click here on Start Cleaning, and then it's done. Now down here you got your quick access to your community folder, your local cache. If you want to have your local cache and delete your rolling cache, you can just come here and delete the file. Now, for users in Sim Update 3, the beta version now, still the beta version, number 23 beta version, this is a huge beta. You might have noticed that there are passive aircraft, static aircraft, that will show up on your airport. They won't taxi, they won't do anything, they're just static. Now in 2D mode, there is in the graphic settings, there's a button where you can set them to, I don't know, the quality, ultra quality, or off, right? But not in VR. There's no button in the VR graphic settings that you can change the passive aircraft. So if you go to the user config file, just with one click of a button and it's there. It's so easy. So if you go to your graphic settings in here, you will see, if you scroll down here at traffic, that there is passive aircraft quality. Now if you set it in the 2D mode to off, the value will be -1. Now that same button in the graphic settings in the sim isn't there for VR. So we're going to scroll down and we'll find it here in the traffic section for VR graphics. You see, graphics VR, scroll down, passive aircraft quality, and I think by default it is 3, set it to -1, and you won't see any static aircraft. This is important if you want to use, say, Intentions.ai or FSLTL or any third-party traffic injection, because otherwise you will get double aircraft parked on the spot. So you don't want those static aircrafts. So set it to -1, file, save, and you're done. Now on the right hand side are the buttons that you can assign yourself. Those are user buttons. So for example, I have here Start FS24, or Start Say Intentions, Beyond ATC, my Navigraph Hub to update my ARAC cycles. Now let's see, I had Navigraph charts here. Let's say we want to add Navigraph charts. I'm going to add a button. It is a file. We're going to browse to where that file is. For me, that's Windows, Users, Admin, App Data, Local, Programs, Navigraph Charts. Click here on Navigraph Charts. Open, and here's the button. Now when I click this one, there we go, Navigraph Charts. As easy as that. See? So another option, what we can do, another tool that I wanted to show you, that is SimTrim. Now let's put it aside for a while. Now what SimTrim does is it takes over the trim settings for the sim. So I've assigned here, it's now in green, button 7 and 8 on my alpha yoke. And that is my digital trim. So if I want to trim down, that's button number 8. Trim up, that's button number 7. Now when I click here on this button, trim down, I need a negative value, and I've set it to minus 0.001. And the bigger the value, the faster the trim is. So a very good starting point is 0.004, but I've set it to 0.0. I want it a little bit faster. For me, I think that's preferable for me. But just play around with different values and see what's good for you. So, and then 7, that is trim up, pitch up. That's a positive number. So that is 0.001, the same value as the negative value, and that is up and down. Now the best thing with sim trim is that you might have noticed it at some aircraft when you have autopilot on, the aircraft will trim itself to stay on that altitude. Now when you disconnect the autopilot, suddenly the aircraft wants to pitch up or pitch down because it's going back to your original trim settings. That shouldn't happen, of course. But with sim trim, it will follow the settings in the sim from your autopilot. And when you disconnect your autopilot, you won't pitch up or pitch down anymore. And it is as it should be. Now, also, if you have a Bravo quadrant with a trim wheel, that trim wheel is also basically a button. So you can assign a button for that trim wheel. And just roll the trim wheel, see what button it's using, and set the trim value for that wheel. And I think most of it was you had to trim so much and it was reacting very slowly, so you can have a bigger value for that trim. So just if you have a Bravo quadrant, just try that one out. And you can also assign, of course, a head switch. So if I've put in this one, I can also use that one as a trim. But then I have to also set the head switch to a trim function in the sim. Okay? Good. Now, on my yoke system, another yoke, I have my throttles. I can set these throttles also as a trim. So now I've got my, this is my prop lever. So my prop lever, if I set it to trim, I can use the prop lever as a trim. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna stay like this because I got the digital trim. All right. Good, guys. Those were my my tools that I always use in the sim. That toolbox, well, I've been using it now for 2 days and it's amazing. It's so much easier to find all the necessary files and folders and programs to start with the sim. And yeah, it is amazing. And also, just a reminder, guys, here in sim trim, and I know some of you have a bat file that starts with the sim. If you come in here, this is the button, yeah? Now, if you come in here, you can also set some parameters that you use in your bat file to start up the sim. So, very easy. I never used it. It's much too complicated for me. But you can set these parameters right there. And also, you can move them up or down. Isn't that amazing? It's really good. I love it. All right, I got that one up and there. Now they're in order for me. Okay, guys, bye for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This was Mike. See you in the next one. Bye.